And then, of course, there's people like me that love going out and finding, as my advisors would put, putting fruit on the tree instead of just plucking fruit off the tree. And that is to say, finding new fossils that really change the field. I have found so much fossil material in the Sahara. There is 2 containers, 40 feet long. For meter people, that's 13, 14 meters, filled with fossils, 50 tons. I will not be able to study or even name the species that are in those containers. Some of that's going to be students of mine or other researchers. We will get to some of it. So there's stuff that will be discovered and stuff that will be discovered on museum shelves.
Oh, yeah. Well, about your expeditions in Africa and Sahara Desert, can you share maybe a memorable moment from one of your expeditions from there, which impacted paleontology or your own personal experience?
I have a few nicknames back here. One of them is Dr. Safety. Another one is Professor Reasonable. And there was absolutely nothing reasonable about the last expedition that I ran. It was the challenge of a lifetime for us all, not just physically. It was to the center of the Sahara, but mentally, because you have to keep yourself totally together under very trying circumstances. I had, during the pandemic, the chance to hone a team in wait, literally for a couple of years, to the opportunity when we could actually lead that expedition. And by the time we took off, I had a team of 20, a lot of Europeans. There were Spanish, there was a German, there was an Italian, Canadian, a couple of Americans, and we joined a couple of Nigerians. And we went into the field for 90 days, 3 months. I personally lost 32 pounds.
Wow.
So I came back thin as a rail. It shows you the amount of effort. Most of that actually happened in the last 2 months. We were sort of waylaid in the desert. I was very frustrated. I couldn't do anything for the first couple of weeks. And so I was losing about a half a pound a day, no matter what I ate. That's the effort it took to collect what I think will stand as an Olympic record, 55 tons of dinosaurs. Many of them new. We were at points, we were in the middle of the field season, and we went to collect the skeleton that we had spotted several years back and then discovered 4 or 5 more. The team I was with felt it was absolutely impossible that we could physically collect these dinosaurs, many of which were 40, 50 feet long, out of solid rock. They said, it's absolutely impossible. And they said that to a camera. We've got it on record. And then it's, how do I do it? Yeah, how do you do it? I said, I'm not so sure. I believe we can. And I said, I believe we can. And 5 days later, I said, I believe we can. And 2 weeks later, I said, I believe. And at the end of that month, we loaded what was about 30 tons onto, we had to come back with the truck, to the truck, and we did it. It's perseverance. It's team building. I think if you see someone as a leader that is working as hard or harder than you, it's inspiring. I think when you go there fully knowing that you have a few times to write a chapter in the history books, this is one of them, the next 90 days. This is our chance. And boy, did we hit it out of every month. We went out to 3 different areas, 1 month. You're going to see film footage from it because we shot more film footage and drone footage and IMAX footage than any other expedition ever.
That's nice.
Yeah, we embedded a film crew. I did this on my own because I've made a lot of films for Geographic. So this time, we're gonna make a film the right way. We want to be there at the moment of discovery, not coming back or coming into the field for 10 days and making up some story about what you. No, we want the grit. We want those interviews with students that say, I'm sorry, this is impossible. With bloodied hands, and we want all that. We want the embedded view, and we got it. And so we haven't, it's not out yet in documentary form, but it will be in the coming year and maybe 2 years to the IMAX. The desert scenes are unimaginably beautiful. Niger has one of the biggest slices of the Sahara that's untamed. There's no roads. And because there's no roads, it's impossible to police. It would resemble our West, the American West, a century ago, maybe a century and a half ago, where you went with a stagecoach. And what would you do if you knew there were bandits out there? And there are some bandits out there. We have plenty of bandits in our city in Chicago, and I imagine you have some, probably a lot in Montenegro.
But different kinds of bandits.
Yeah, in my opinion, they're actually more dangerous. And you get this sense when you invite somebody from the Sahara to Chicago, they're worried about Al Capone and they're terrified, and they're almost ready to go back at the airport if you don't meet them and convince them, no, come, we'll die, at least I'll protect you.
Yeah,
when you go to Niger,
it goes for us.
Yeah, and it's sort of like when you go to the Sahara, everyone thinks that the country's had a coup now, and they think that, oh my God, if you put your toe in that country, you're going to die. I just was there in December. No, I'm alive. But when you want to lead an expedition and you know that the spotlight is on you, anything happens to your team, the world is going to know about it. I can't afford to have a hair touched. Well, then you have to understand how we had our security back in the day in the West. You brought it with you. And so I formed a small army. And I took 65 armed guards out there to make sure absolutely nothing happened. Not because Niger is more, on average, Niger is far safer than here. We don't have the quantity of guns we have here. We can't even have a celebration of a Super Bowl without, winner, without having something happen. And it's extremely rare there. But it is an untamed country the size of France. That's my field area. And I drive into it. We're going to work in Marseille today. Tomorrow we're going to go up to Paris, and that's our field area. And then we're going to go over to Bordeaux. That's literally what we did. And we ended up coming back with 55 tons of new material, which is just astounding. And the import is that this is one of the last continents you can do this on. There's only so many. Earth is only so big. There's only so many continents. Yes, paleontology is going to give us beautiful finds for another century, couple generations, absolutely. But writing the story of a continent, what happened in the Cretaceous? Upper, lower. What happened in the Jurassic? Upper, lower. This is the prime time dinosaurs. We got a few dinosaurs from Tanzania, a couple of ones from Kem. I found a few there, get a couple from Egypt. Niger has the rest of the story. I mean, it's just amazing. We're going to describe a species of Spinosaurus that's going to knock kids' socks off.
We stay genuine, uncensored and unscripted, and we always will, as we have to order our usual. Share us, subscribe us, and stay tuned until the next Wednesday. Ikuzo!